Husqvarna 385 XP case half. This has been in the oven, and this bearing has been in the freezer. And it should go right in. Where's my hammer? Not quite as smooth as I was hoping. Alright, so I just gave it a little bit more heat with the torch. Here. 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 And then I hit it with this, with the hammer, just nice and easy. You don't have to hit it hard. And it seats. And you actually notice a difference in the sound when it seats properly. Okay, so this is good. Now, the crank was in the freezer. This is the flywheel side, so hopefully, perfect. Slides right on. This bearing has been in the freezer. This case is hot. Seal side has got to be out. Okay, let me hit it. That didn't work. Try again. Yeah, basically try again. So this was, got my thermometer here. We're down to 150-ish. But I had it to like 260. So, need to bring it back up, bring the bearing down. I think one of the keys here is to let the bearing sit in the freezer for a bit. That way it really gets chilly. And then we'll see. I mean, you shouldn't have to bang on it hard. It should just kind of go together. But we're not quite there yet. So we'll get there. Pretty warm. This is cold. In the wrong way. Don't do that. In the correct way. Let me hit it. Still doesn't want to go. Still doesn't want to go. I'm a 1/4 of an inch off here. Great. I'm trying to catch this with my cell phone and I can't do it. Okay, so you can see the temperatures here. It's got to be hot. I got it to, it was kind of like a 1/4 of an inch off, and then it just dropped in after I hit it again with the torch. So you got to hit this and get this hot. Otherwise this does not want to drop in. It wants to bind and not drop in. Alright, so while it's still warm, I got to now go get the crank half and see if we can get that going. This half has been in the chiller, in the freezer. So now I'm going to put the gasket on, the positioners, and see if I can put these together. Let's see what happens. So I've got the whole thing here coated I actually just coated the gasket with just a light coat of Loctite 515. 518 is supposedly better, but this is what I got for right now. So hopefully this works. This is anaerobic sealer. Yeah, so let's see if the hot other part goes on. It goes on, but it isn't all the way. So I gotta get the bolts in there and hopefully get them to pull it home. Some blue Loctite on all the case bolts. Let's see if they go home. Case bolts are in. I'm going to cinch the two halves together here. Looks like they are going, so that's a good sign. Good. I'm going to put the phone down and continue this until it's cinched. That's as tight as I can get the case bolts. So over here you can see a gap, but that's because there's a gasket here. So everything looks like it lines up. The gasket actually looks, if you look close, you can see that there's a little bit of 515 coming out there. So this is cinched up. Pretty good. Turns. Nice and tight too. Feels tight, you know, like bearings should feel. Looks kind of like you just tap it in. Let's see. I'll hit it with a hammer. But we need a deep socket first that fits. 3/4 impact should work. I'm just going to basically hit this with a hammer. So as I'm putting this in, I had one little issue, and this is going to be very difficult to describe. But there we go. The oil seal wanted to kind of bulge out a little bit because this part, as it got tapped down with the hammer, the rubber wanted to come up a little bit. All I did was take the pen tip and kind of gently go around, and then it folded right back in on itself, and it looks like it's fine. So a little bit of lube on there helps too. So now the case looks like it's together, which means now the rebuild actually begins. This thing's a little worse for wear, so I might give it some paint. You know, throw a little paint at this. That might help. Help the look of it anyway a little bit. But I'm pretty happy with how we're doing so far. And this turns over smooth. Looks like we have a pretty good seal on the case halves. They are together as tight as I can get them, so this bearing is sticking up just a little bit here. It's flush on the inside, and that's basically that at this point. Hopefully there is a good seal at this point between the two, and that's all you can hope for. Okay, here we are with a dial indicator, and we've got our 385 XP chassis on the mill, and I want to lose 16 thousandths from the top here. So about 38 thousandths here on the dial indicator, and I can't go the full length here because we've got travel issues on this machine, but that's okay. Let's see if we can track it this way. So all the way to the other side of the piece, we're within 1/1000th of an inch. That's darn good. Let's see if we can go towards the middle and see if it's going to change appreciably.
No.
And the answer is not really. So Still within 1/1000th of an inch. Again. Let's go all the way over here. Let's go in.
We're within 1/1000th to the midline.
More or less to the middle, I'd say we're doing pretty good. What do you guys think? That's pretty good. We'll take it. Now we'll machine it. So here we are. Doing a little milling. Let's see if it goes. Do not want to bugger that brass piece there, but I got plenty of room. Now, while I'm over in this corner, I think I'm gonna smooth everything out here, and then we'll work the whole thing around. This is obviously not a CNC mill. This is good old-fashioned stuff here.
You can ruin it by hand as easily.
Right. We're gonna ruin it by hand just as easy. And from the look of it, we're gonna end up with a smoother surface than when we started. This part looks like kind of a weak spot, so I really want to go extra slow. This ought to be interesting. It looks like there's some type of an angle here. And I'm going to have to cut a diagonal on by hand here. Again, I'm not a machinist, so it's not like I really know what I'm doing. What do you think? Am I on the money there, Dad?
Pretty close. Last leg.
I'm sure a lot of guys are saying, my goodness, this is quite a bit of work when you could just delete the base gasket and have effectively the same result. And though that might be true, something inside of me says, I don't want to delete the base gasket. I don't know. I don't like that idea. Not that it can't be done, not that it isn't done, not that it shouldn't be done, just something makes me feel weird about it. That's pretty good for a finish. It's smoother than when we started. That's for darn sure. Now I can put a gasket on it and have optimal squish. So I did it. This saw is not a beauty queen here, but should be ready to go. All back together after rebuild. Even painted the muffler a little bit so it looks a little better. It definitely doesn't look great. That's silly. I had a leak in the gas tank, so I had to swap that out. Neither that I had were good looking tanks, so oh well. But that's a big saw, especially compared to a 350. Big saw. So the bar I've got on it about is a medium size for this one. 28-inch bar compared to an 18. Well, let's see if she starts. And yeah, hopefully she starts. Did the bearings, did support work, advanced the timing. Thanks to all the guys on Arborist site that helped me out. Tough to name all of them, but Mastermind was one of them. I'm Dave Lee. I don't know how to pronounce his avatar, and Old Cat, and a few other guys that were on there. So, apologize if I forgot anybody. What else did I do to this? Kind of a lot of new stuff. This silly, I mean, it just, you get parts here that aren't great, but they do all work and function. Some aftermarket parts, some OEM parts, new cable rings, new this and that, new filters, new plug. Let's see if she starts. Postscript. Saw ran great for 30 seconds, then stopped. Has spark, has fuel, has compression. So those that have seen my Facebook page, you know that one of my background pictures is a flywheel with a piece of copper. So I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you how I do it. You make a channel in the flywheel where you want the key. Every other flywheel on the planet is done this way. They have a keyway. They have a keyway, and then you have a key that's put in between the two, usually some type of softer metal that will tend to shear if you have a problem. Instead, Husqvarna decides to put the key integral with the flywheel. That way, if it shears, you throw the flywheel away. Well, I don't want to throw the flywheel away. I just cleaned this thing. Doesn't it look shiny? So, why would I throw the flywheel away if I can just grind a notch in it, assuming it's where I want my timing to be, and maybe put a piece of copper in there? How's that for an idea? I've actually done this quite a few times, so it works brilliantly. So, yep, real simple. If you don't lock the nut down tight enough, I mean tight, it's got to be tight. I put Loctite on it, but apparently it didn't hold. I don't know why. Don't know what happened, but it sheared. So, on to bigger and better things here. Let me put a piece of copper in there, and we'll show you how we do that. I literally just have a piece of Romex here that I've bent over, and it's going to slide right down in there. And that will be my key. There it is, right in there. So, you can move it back and forth a little bit depending on where you want your timing. But that should actually hold just fine. Don't forget to use a torque wrench to tighten it. 13 foot-pounds. That should do. And I just use a screwdriver in here to hold that. So it's still. Let's see if she starts now. Perfect. M. Davely, thank you. So, that's nice. That's good. I have no idea what the timing is.